President William Samoei Ruto says that the only man that would have stood between him and the president in 2027 was Raila Amolo Odinga. That in the absence of Raila, there is no competition. Hao wengine asubuhi na mapema nitawashinda. Today, Saturday 15th of November, we look at this. Is he right? Is it true there is no opposition? Is it true that only Raila would have given Ruto competition? That is what we are looking at today. I agree with William Ruto that Raila was going to be a big challenge and a competitor. Let me begin here. I am convinced, and not the way people are saying Raila told them. No, Raila never told me such a thing. In fact, last time I asked him, Jacob, are you going to run in 2027? He laughed in that characteristic laugh. He said, hey, people asking whether I'm running or sitting, whether I'm standing or sitting. And it ended like that. So I'm not saying he ever told me anything. But from my own understanding of the politics of this country, I am convinced Raila was going to run. So was he going to beat Ruto? And therefore is Ruto justified when he says only Raila would have given him a run for his money? I think so. And there are reasons convincing me that Raila would have sent Ruto home. First, for Raila to win in 2027, it would just have been a continuation of the wins he has had. Raila won 2007. No doubt about it. William himself knows. Nobody defended Raila's victory in 2007 than President William Samoei Ruto. Judge Kriegler from South Africa said, you couldn't tell who won the election. In English, that is to say, the person who is the president did not win that election. Kivuitu himself said, the man in charge of the election, ECK, the precursor to IBC and the other one in between. And we all know it. 2013, Raila won that election. The Mutunga courts had a problem admitting a big document, which if it had been admitted, obviously Raila was going to be the president, declared president. If you followed the petition in the Supreme Court, especially the part by Kathy Kalonzo, the late Mutula Kalonzo's daughter, sister to Governor Mutula Kalonzo Jr. If you followed the top-ups that were necessary to make Uhuru and Ruto avoid the runoff, if you followed that segment, and it was not refuted, lawyers use a word, I can't remember the word, then you can piece things together and see Raila won. In 2017, Maraga nullified the election. In 2022, there was a lot of hot air, wild goose chasing and the rest. Obviously, Raila won the election of 2022. But he lost it to a person who didn't win. So if Raila was going to beat Ruto in 2027, it was just a continuation of what has been happening. What would have been the difference? The country is woke, like young boys are saying. Today, you cannot steal an election. You will have to do very crude things like we've seen in Tanzania. Anybody, whether in the opposition or in government, whether Ruto or Kalonzo or Gachagua or Matiang'i, anybody thinking they can go to State House through stealing an election, Americans will tell them that you got another thing coming, that you are wasting your time. It will not happen. The world is changing. The boys around and they will be involved, the boys and girls, they will be involved in this election. Stealing this election will be impossible. If I lie, wait and see the coming by-elections. Let somebody try to mess with Malaba by-election, Mbere by-election, Magarin by-election, and many other county assembly by-elections in between these three. You will not do it. So 2027, Ruto will have to win fair and square, simple, if he was to win. And therefore, Raila was going to beat him, and Raila was going to go to State House, like he has done in those other times. The other reason why Raila was going to win was once Raila announced he was going to run, I can assure you there wouldn't be a person in this country who would come up and say, I want to oppose Raila. Not Kalonzo, not Manyora, not Matiangi, not Martha Karua, not Wamalwa, not Natembe, none of them. None of them. In fact, to the contrary, many of these people would support Raila mainly for selfish reasons. There will be those who will see this man is old. He will go one term, and I will take over. And therefore, Raila would have won against Ruto in 2027 because he would have had no opposition from the opposition. I cannot see an individual from the opposition ranks who would have the courage to say they were running if Raila came to run. Not one. And like I'm saying, almost all of them, first they will be fighting for the running mate position, not fighting against Raila. And I'm not saying this because Raila is no more. I'm saying this because I even said it before he died. I've said it on this platform, that all these people will be scrambling for the running mate position. And they will be supporting Raila for selfish reasons. For Manyora, not much love lost between the two, but he would know this is the surest bet. Because if there's anything Gachagua would love and want and work for and even die for, is to see Ruto going home. The person who would have guaranteed Gachagua a clean ticket for Ruto to go to Surugoi would have been Raila Odinga. For that reason, even grudgingly, Manyora would have supported Raila. That's the second reason why Raila was going to win. And why Ruto is right, that Raila was his challenger. The third reason is that Raila has run for a long time, for many times. Raila was an old man. There was that sympathy thing that normally works. It worked in my constituency. That sympathy thing, even beyond the traditional support, Raila was going to get the support of those who will be driven by some sort of sympathy and the guilt that this guy has won this many times. No. And the reason why Raila has not become president is because we didn't give him sufficient votes to make rigging impossible. There were going to be people led by sympathy and by guilt to support Raila Odinga. And finally, there will be those who will have not much choice, because the choice will be between Ruto and Raila. Raila has his base intact, his ideology and philosophy intact, his promises intact, free education from kindergarten to university, reasonably free health care, 6,000 or now to be more per household where people are not working. That's stipend. Ruto, on the other hand, will be a man with his promises unmet. There will be no contest between Ruto and Raila Odinga. Absolutely none. And I am sure these are some of the considerations Raila was going to use to make the decision to run, other than being pushed by people. He was going to make that calculation and the sea, there is no chance in heaven, on earth, that Ruto would beat him. So is all lost? Is Ruto justified that in the absence of Raila, he has no competitor? Well, on the surface, yes. But if you look at it keenly, no. Something strange has happened. And that something strange must be worrying William Samoei Ruto. And that something is also a surprise to the beneficiary of that something. That from nowhere, with no reason at all, no explanation at all, nothing tangible to explain it, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is on the map. You look at the horizon, you see Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, SKM. I am saying even Kalonzo himself is surprised. As much as William Samoei Ruto is worried because of the Kalonzo phenomenon, Kalonzo himself must be surprised. Because there isn't any explanation. The opposition was still talking about looking for a compromise candidate. But that debate is gone. There's no debate. And the guys didn't sit down. I'm sure they haven't sat down. Kalonzo has just evolved. He has just happened. What is more, if you've seen it of late, Kalonzo is the beneficiary of the Raila sympathy. I said that there were those people who are going to vote for Raila in 2027 led by some kind of sympathy. That sympathy has been transferred to Kalonzo. And somehow, that's why I'm saying you can't explain this thing. Somehow, either because of this phenomenon or whatever reason, Kalonzo himself, there's a complete metamorphosis. He's changed. Again, that must be worrying William Ruto. Kalonzo is no longer the man we knew. The demeanor, the poise. So while it may be true that, while it is true, not may be true, while it is indeed true that Ruto would have faced stiff challenge from Raila Odinga in 2027, it is equally true. Raila has left behind a successor, a natural heir and successor to the Raila throne. I personally didn't even expect the Luo community and its serious leadership to embrace Kalonzo the way they have embraced him. I know they owed him. I know they owed him because Kalonzo sacrificed so much for Raila 3 times, including the last one, when he made certain utterances that many men would have found difficult. But if you listen to him in Jacaranda, has he endorsed Raila? That thing seems to be touching people. And the fact that the Raila base, the Luo Nyanza base and the ODM base, has developed a serious soft spot for Kalonzo and serious support for him, makes this game almost already decided. So if I were Ruto, yes, I would say the things I'm saying publicly, but privately, with my team, I would know danger looms in Kalonzo Musyoka. And I'm sure those with the figures, those with the numbers, know for Ruto the math is not mathing. If elections were held today, I've said before, today, 15th, Saturday, 15th November 2025, Kalonzo will get 70% of these votes, leaving Ruto with a mere 30% or so. But like they say in politics, a day is like a year. With more than 20 months to go, those are many years to go. And those who support Kalonzo must be praying that he doesn't make a blunder. Politicians are prone to blunders. Those who support Kalonzo Musyoka must be praying hard that he doesn't make any blunder. The prayer about opposition unity is no longer necessary. That is already decided, almost by fate, that Kalonzo is the man to front in 2027. And like I've said before, you merely seal this deal by giving a Luya the running mate position. Deal sealed. Between the Luya and the Kamba nations, the two of them, over 5 million votes already. With Manyora bringing in another 5-6 million, by like my friend Francis would say, usubuhi saa nne imeenda. The thing is gone. Kalonzo would have Ruto for breakfast. Because those are only 3 communities and already you have 11-12 million votes. Somebody asked me, how if Kalonzo faces a Ruto Mudavadi ticket? Yes, some little challenge with the votes of Western. But from what I know, I come from Western, even with Mudavadi as running mate. Natembea or Eugene or even Sifuna will sweep over 60% with Mudavadi as running mate Ruto. With the Wetangula as running mates, perhaps much less. Why? Because Natembea and Wamalu and Sifuna currently own the turf that was previously Wetangula's. That is Trans Nzoia and Bungoma. That means what is left for Kalonzo is to ensure he continues cultivating a demeanor, the poise of a statesman, the way he's doing. Improve on it. Improve on public speaking. Decide early enough on the men and women he's going to work with. And finally, my advice to William Samoei Ruto. Joey is still relevant. Run away, the elephant, the buffalo is coming. In fact, Kalonzo has been named the buffalo. So Joey refers more to Kalonzo now. Buffalo soldier, SKM, William Samoei Ruto. That is the man you are now going to face in 2027.